Consciousness, the final frontier. These are the voyages into the universe between your ears. Our mission, to explore collective wisdom, seek out amazing secrets, and spread the message of personal potential.
That's the person for you to follow. And so this is why this is part of the reason why we have so many of these conversations. And for us, there's a lot of repetition in different areas.
Yes. And you and I, Tim, we were talking about this prior to the podcast starting in another conversation. It's so important for people. I'm very passionate to help people feel what is it that your spirit needs at a specific time. There's like a gazillion coaches out there. That's why even the word coach kind of like makes me cringe, but there's no other way to describe. And I have 2 coaching certifications. But here's the thing. Nothing, like you said, nothing can really replace my life experience. So if you are someone that is in your head and doesn't know how to feel, I'm your person. If you are someone that is in transition, I understand that. If you are someone that is considering divorce, I understand that. If you're a mom not feeling out of whack, not balanced in life and something is missing, I understand that. So we all have a lot of knowledge sometimes, but if it's not combined with knowledge is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be a lifelong learner, but if we don't combine that with the wisdom of the heart and the life experience, it's like what you said. I mean, I can regurgitate, from a book what you need to do, but you're not going to feel me. And the healing happens in the validation. The healing happens in just having compassion and holding that space for each other. It's beautiful.
Right. All right. So I want to ask about something that you do here. It intrigued me. It was the energy leveraging index.
Yes. So the first coaching certification I did was the Tony Robbins certification. It's amazing. It's called Strategic Intervention. The second one I did was through a company named IPEC, and they talk about what is called the Energy Leadership Index Assessment. Basically, we have 7 different levels of energy, all of us. Available to us at any given time. And we have different percentages that we use in each level. When we are under stress, those percentages vary. They change. So really quick, I'll tell you what they are. Level 1 is victims. It's when we feel at the expense of life. Like life is happening to me. I feel like I have no options. I'm stuck, right? The level 2 is anger or blame. So it's your fault that this is happening to me. The level 3 is rationalization, or it's like our coping mechanism, right? So it's like, well, I understand why this is happening to me. It's because of this and that. Level 4 is compassion. So we think about others and instead of ourselves first. We just think we are more worried about others first. Level 5 is like, it's a win-win situation. So it's like, I want you to win and I want me to win. So it's just shared. Level 6 is, isn't it funny that we think that it's you and I, it's actually we're one, right? That's just a fantasy. And level 7 is just like that connection to source, right? The connection to God isn't it funny that we think that this is real? This is all an illusion. Right. So it's pretty cool because just by taking this assessment, and this is done, you guys, so that you know, this is done in the corporate world. This is not just for individuals. So it fascinates me because if you think about the 7 levels, hint, hint, it's like the 7 chakras, right?
Right.
But don't say that to the corporate world.
No.
It fascinates me because it gives you a roadmap of who we are at any given time and what happens to us when we are under stress, which is all the time. So the who that shows up changes just by, how we're using our energy. And it gives you the blueprint for you to access each energy level at will instead of being at the expense of the energy level, because we don't know what we don't know. So if we're not aware, we're not conscious of how we operate, we can't change anything. So it's really, 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 really cool coaching. Big changes have happened to me, to myself. All of the things that I have studied and all the modalities of healing that I have pursued have been initially to help myself. It was never with the intention of, oh my gosh, I want to be this and I want to do that. And it was more like, oh my gosh, I want to find this truth for myself. I want to heal myself. I want to understand where I'm coming from.
That exactly what happens when you stumble upon this truth, right? And you discovered it. And now that you know it and it excites you so much, I don't know that you want to do anything else but just share it, right?
Yes.
And so kind of like any other sort of like, field becomes less interesting because it's just an application of this higher truth, right?
Yes.
So why would you want to go there? Why won't you just share this? This is the essence, the core essence of things, right?
Yes.
I'm totally with you. I'm now reading. Have you heard of David G?
Yes.
David G. The same way. He was with David Simon, MD, and Chopra at the Chopra Center in Carlsbad for a long time, maybe for a decade.
Wow.
And he just stopped everything that he was doing, and he decided, I'm going to become a teacher. And he's teaching, and his language, I don't know, you know what? I want to contrast, and Tim, you will understand me because I was kind of sharing some of that with you. Our group is now...
So, I rarely understand you.
Well, that one I'll make sure you get. The group is great. Like my life partner is excited about Joe Dispenza.
Yes.
Dispenza, huge. And, of course, I always, pay very serious attention to what she is trying to explore, because in my previous experience, it always leads me to some new highs, right? So I went on that and I started listening to Joe Dispenza, right? And I just, there's this, when a person is kind of like, I guess, I want to say enlightened, I feel that vibration. I'm going to the same point, Tim, that you were saying, that different people need different coaches, right? That will speak only to you, right? And actually at different times also, right? Different coaches are needed.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so it happened that at this time, just Joe Dispenza is not my coach. Right, and so I have to part ways with my life partner.
Yes.
And I don't know how I'm going to do
just
this.
To be clear, in case she's listening, it's only on this matter.
Yeah, but like I'm listening to Joe Dispenza, and he would say something like, about what you were saying, like those low level kind of things, right? And he would talk about the high level things versus the lower level things. And sex, for example, is one of the lower things, right? So, and then he would say, when you get there,
now we know why.
No, it has nothing to do with it. But then he explained, after he presented his point, then he goes, don't misunderstand me, he says. And I was listening to his audiobook. I'm not saying that sex isn't okay. Right? And I can't do this. I can't have somebody clarify for me that sex is okay or isn't okay. I think that this book, that's it. I'm switching to another coach.
Well, but it's a good example, though, of what I was saying.
It's just the level of, like, for example, with David G., when he's using his language, I mean, I could write down every statement that he is saying because I think it's profound. Even the way he delivers it is kind of tickling my soul. It's like, oh my God, right?
Yes.
And so, I just wanted to comment about everyone needs their own coach and finding your coach, right? And it takes time. to really go. Don't,
And I want to. What comes to me as you're saying this is, coach may not be really what somebody wants. Maybe they just want a mentor, which is kind of what because you're, Joe Dispenza isn't coaching any of us. He's more of a mentor figure where we're trying to learn from that person. Personally, I hear coach, and it's more of a direct connection.
That's true. That is
mentor. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Just in case anybody's hung up on that.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, that's a great distinction, because I think the word coach, and that's why I think it makes me cringe a little bit, because coaching is going from point A to point B. It's about setting goals and all that. Then everything else falls into different. You can be a mentor. I like to think of myself more as a guide, as a compassionate listener that has a lot of also coaching knowledge and psychology background. And so I bring different elements. That's why for me it's kind of hard is to explain completely, with a title who I am. Right. I like to talk to the person, and so they can feel me. But going back to what you were saying, I actually don't believe that it takes time. I believe that if we trust in the power of our hearts, the heart will let you know exactly what you need. But we're not used to that. We're not used to making irrational decisions because they're based on the heart. And so that's a fascinating point, right?
A lot of us don't
they
even know how to...
The teacher will come when
the student is ready.
Exactly.
I wanted to comment on what you just said on it, because, a lot of us don't know how to listen to, you may be open to the idea of listening to your heart.
Yes.
You may be over here on the mind side of things, and just, you get to a point where you're just sort of realizing this is just not really getting me there. I need to open up, and maybe there's something of value over here.
Yeah.
So I'm ready. But if you have no practice, if you don't know how to receive the messages, you don't know what to expect, it can be hard.
Absolutely. Very, very hard, actually. And I think that's the very first step, is the most challenging one, is when you said, are we ready? Because when I ask my guides, let me tell you an example. When I'm doing readings or healings, I can tell the person that is completely open. I can tell the person that is trying to block it. I can tell the person that is actually on medicine, you guys. I can feel that. It's harder to read their energy. And it doesn't matter to me. I love them anyway. That's my gift. It's like, I don't judge you. I honor you, because we are connected. But the most challenging part is when we say, you know what? I am willing to feel. I am willing to tap in the wisdom of my heart and trust it, no matter what. You don't have to know how. The how will come. But most of us, when we get in our heads, it's like, oh my gosh, I want to trust in my heart, but I don't know how. I have no idea how to do it. So therefore, I'm not going to do it. Bye. Right?
Well, doesn't this sound a lot like a 12-step program?
The AA?
Pick one. They all basically start with, your first step is admitting you got an issue. Second step is basically identifying it correctly. And then you go from there.
Yeah.
But first thing is saying, I got a problem here of some kind. And I'm not able to deal with it on my own.
Right. And just to tie it in with the whole kids issue with the media, with the phones, that's something that we really all of us need to do, because us adults are also addicted to our media, to our phones. Instead of looking outside, we need to learn how to look inside, because the more we look inside, we can find all the answers inside of us, and we can start to live from that place. So the phone is just an enjoyable thing, like that's great. I can use it to communicate. I can use it to create things, but I choose to do that. It's not.
It's a tool versus
me, right? And it's because we are looking outside of ourselves.
Yeah, the whole personal growth arena, just the whole topic. I never get tired of talking, and we had a little bit of a conversation about this, but I never get tired of talking about it, because it keeps changing, right? There's always more, and there's always new, and there's always deeper. And
That's true.
Something that has been happening for me lately, and I think, Gabi, I told you about this at one point, but and I have somebody else in our group was talking to me about this, and I think she's going through the same thing. When you first get into some of this stuff, everything is new, and when you haven't been doing any of this sort of self-work, when you start, it's really easy to see progress. Mm-hmm. So it's really easy, and it's a good thing. So you get excited about it, and it makes you want to do more, and so you see more, and it works. It builds on itself. But there are plateaus, and with everything, there are plateaus in your learning curve kind of levels off a little bit, and you're still doing the work maybe, but you don't see the progress anymore, and then. What I'm seeing happen for myself right now is that I'm reaching a place where and I don't know how to describe it exactly other than I'm looking back. There's been this period of, I don't really see much happening. Nothing seems to be going on.
You know who does a great job for me personally, really going into acceptance of this situation, and you come prepared for it. There'll be a plateau.
I'm going to interrupt you right back because I want to finish the story. Yeah. So, in case, because we have, our listeners are in different levels of this stuff. So, but if you, what I'm finding is that when I have conversations with people now, there are things coming out of my mouth in a different way than they would have a few months ago, mm-hmm. right? And I'm better able to verbalize ideas and things, and so I'm realizing that I've got a deeper understanding of certain things than I did not that long ago, and so I'm able to look at that and go, okay, so there's how things have changed. There's still progress. There's still growth. It just changes what it looks like. And so if there's anybody, I'm just trying to make the point basically that if there's anybody out there who may be feeling like they're in that kind of a stage where, I don't know, I don't see anything happening.
Absolutely.
You got to be
patient.
We're not,
I think I'm gonna reinforce your point. I so completely agree with you. And I think it's important. What's one thing that I have learned in this transition, and by the way, you guys, I've been doing this transition for 5 years and I'm ready to create now because it's but one thing that I really, if I get honest with myself, is I have learned to respect and honor my transition, because those peaks and valleys that you're talking about are all necessary. Not one is better than the other, but you see what we do? We judge. And so we judge the experience of when I'm changing really fast, that's better than when I'm not changing. Who says that?
Well, you're always changing, right?
We are meant to do this, right?
Yeah.
We're constantly changing. Look at what happens to us. We're born this big, and now we're bigger, and then we're going to be grayer, and then we're constantly changing. But for some really funny reason, as human beings, we don't think that we should, or we always think that we should be somewhere else other than we are at. What happens if we're okay? I'm in a transition. Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm in a transition. And I still have, but this is the thing, and I still have something valuable to offer.
Yeah.
But I didn't believe that of myself until a year ago. Yeah. Because it's taken me this long to learn to love myself and be kind to myself. And the only way to do that is, for me at least, is to go inside and be really real with myself. And love myself. Just love. I'm sorry. I forgive you. Let go of the guilt. You just have to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
And so.
So, Gabi, what were you?
Yeah. So, because what you were saying, I immediately remembered, right? The acceptance of having downtime moments. The Power of Now goes through this a lot, that this is the time absolutely needed for recharging, for getting the momentum going. You're accumulating energy there. It's absolutely, it's a cyclical nature. Yeah. And so you are so completely encouraged to accept it as an absolute necessity. And you even you become less discouraged. You totally accept. I personally think, I'm kind of feeling down, which means the energy is not with me right now. My purpose now is to go find some peace, maybe go and do some pleasant activity, spend time with family, read a book. You need another stimulant, right? You're waiting for another piece of information.
It's almost like burnout, right? You just need
don't want to treat it as a burnout.
But not treating it. But it's like, you get burned out because you're focused on one thing just intensely for
you're
a long
lacking. That's what it is. You're lacking energy.
Move away from it and come back later, right?
There has to be new input. There has to be new energy flowing in. And you're kind of in a waiting pattern where it's going to come from. I'm actually excited, right? Okay, where is it going to come from? Something I'm kind of, okay, I'm alert. Okay, I'm ready. You give it to me. I'm not acting. I'm waiting for the inspiration to come, right?
This is what makes the difference for somebody between suffering through a period like that versus going through it with anticipation, and rubbing your hands together. Okay, what's coming? Because I know something's coming.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
It's whether you're aware of the process or not. Because if you're not, it's miserable.
That's right. And I think those pauses per se, or those valleys, a great thing to ask ourselves is like, okay, what am I to see now? What do I need? It's an introspective time. And, what is it that I need to see, or what is it that I need at this moment before it blows up again, and then I'm busy and out there and
exactly. So you're pushing it, right? And something let's like brute force. It has to be done,
Yes.
And then you go and get yourself in trouble.
Yes. I got myself in a lot of trouble by running away from my transition, you guys. But that's okay. I own it.
Why do I think there's a good story there that we would like to hear?
If you want to share.
Absolutely. This is what I believe. I believe that these messages that we receive are the most freaking ironic ones of all, because, for example, for me to receive the message, trust in the power of your heart, for somebody that was completely in my head, it's just really hilarious. So if I look at it with humor, it's very funny. So that's what I've been doing. I feel my intuition, I hear it, and then I want to run away because that's not the route that I want to go. I need to do this other thing. I'm raising my kids and blah, blah, blah. And I go back to my head. I go back to fear. And so I have gotten, in the past 5 years, I have gotten little jobs here and there that they don't serve my purpose, and, or run away from the development of my healing abilities. And all of that, I could see how it was creating a depressed mood, which I'm not. I'm a cheerful, happy, loving person for the most part. Don't ask my husband. I'm just kidding. But and I could feel it, but I also believe that the more we run away, the calling gets louder and louder and louder. I was just talking to my friends. I went to visit some friends in Utah, and they were saying, well, for some people it has to get loud like that, but we're happy you're here, because now I am full force. I know what I came here to do, at least for now. It might change again because we are going like this, and that's okay, because it's not about who I think I should be. It's about me trusting in the power of my heart that I am exactly at the right place. I am doing exactly what I need to do. I have exactly the amount of knowledge that I need to have in order to do what is in my heart to do. And that means using this as well to create. Okay.
Well, the important part of the journey for each of us is the journey.
Right.
Right. It's not getting to there.
Yes.
It's all of this stuff in between, because those are the lessons, those are the experiences, those are the stuff that you can look back on and go, oh, wasn't that great?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Not
My
the
guides.
point that you look at and go, oh, isn't this great? Well, you do for a minute, but it doesn't have that value.
My guides, I call them my guides. They're pretty hilarious. They said to me, if only you could see that there is no destination, you would actually feel the joy that you desire. I'm like, okay, thanks, guys. It doesn't get more clear than that, right? But that's what we're all doing. We're like seeking, oh my gosh, when I get that master's degree, I'm going to have this accomplishment, right? I'm going to find my purpose. And when I have this many clients and when I have this much money, and all of that is wonderful. And I'm not negating any of that. Like, bring it on, right? But it's not a destination, and it's not who we are. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Well, that piece of paper that you get after you've finished all your studies doesn't do anything for you. Mm-hmm. It's the lessons that you learned along the way that you can take out into the real world and apply that actually do something for you.
Yeah.
And if you didn't pay attention to those lessons, you wouldn't be able to do that.
It also comes with a lot of debt.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. So I've been watching several people now, sending people to colleges and going to campuses and visiting and whatever. And I just couldn't help myself thinking, guys, I think you're a little bit behind. I mean, the education now is available elsewhere easily. Check out, for example, on Audible, right? I know there are books, right? But type great courses. Just type great courses, right? I mean, there are lectures from some of the most interesting lecturers.
I have a couple of those.
Accomplished professors. Yeah. No, on any topic. I mean, you go to, I downloaded a bunch. Like nice. jazz music, understanding jazz, like jazz. I enjoy jazz, but I never kind of have had anybody tell me about how to.
Are you familiar with Mike Rowe?
No.
You mentioned
the guy from the Dirty Jobs TV show from a while back. I think what he's doing now, I don't have television, so I don't know what's current, but I believe what he's doing right now is called Giving Back. Mm-hmm. I think it's called Giving Back, and he has a foundation. Excuse me. One of his driving, one of his core beliefs is that college is not the right destination for everybody. Lots of people just really shouldn't be going to college, right? They're not going to be happy. They're not going to do well at whatever they study. There are some people who are going to be great mechanics, right? They're going to be great farmers, great whatever, great in trades, in manual-oriented kinds of careers, and they can make really good money.
Absolutely.
You don't need to go to a 4-year university and get that degree to be happy and make good money and support and all of the things that we want, that we think come out of that piece of paper.
Yeah. And that goes back to our conversation about the kids, right? And not looking inside. And we're not helping kids. Part of what I saw is a system that is, very regimented. This is what we do. I'm not judging. I'm just saying as an observation. It's like, this is what you do. You memorize this test, you pass this test, and you give you a diploma. Next. And so we're not helping human beings tap into their beauty that we have inside. We're all so beautifully different, and yet we're all connected. So when, for example, if you are great at doing this podcast because you have a great mind to ask questions and hold the space, which, by the way, not everybody has the capacity to hold space and interact like that. And I don't know, I'm being called to help people feel again. And we all start doing what is in our heart to do, and we trust in the power of that heart. Then can you imagine? Yep. But we're not taught that, right? Like we suppress the arts, or we suppress the traits, like you're saying. I'm very, very, very passionate about that.
Well, in their defense, I don't want to be just like totally bashing higher education, because it's useful and necessary, but it's just not for everybody. Nothing is for everybody.
Right. Like my daughter, for example, I have a 14-year-old who wants to be a physician. Mm-hmm. So she wants to be a neurosurgeon. Mm. So she's not going to pull an Audible. She needs to go to school, right? She's going to need to go to university. Right. But if she was, I don't know, artistic, then I would definitely like look for other options. I would say like forget about a 4-year college, go to art school, whatever. There's no right or wrong. Right. You know what I think is sad is when we don't help another person express who they really are and do a living, not make a living, but I like to say do a living, by doing what you love. Why can't we have both?
Yeah. No, we can, but it's hard to, the older you get, before you realize that you have another side, right? I grew up being told that I was analytical and stuff, and it was never like downplayed that I might have a creative side, but it just, I think just by osmosis, I assumed that I wasn't very creative. And then I get into my 40s and started fooling around with creating websites and stuff, and found out, this is cool and I'm relatively good. And, and it's instant feedback and all these, and you start to think in a different way, or you get into, I was doing photography for a little while, and that changes how you view the world in a visual way.
Yeah.
And I literally would drive down the highway sometimes and see something and would say, oh, click, because you see pictures. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But if you don't sort of experiment with life, you don't get to see different perspectives.
And here's another point. This is a really interesting point, is many of us, I would say most of us, are not meant to do one thing. We keep on evolving and changing. I'm like, when I look back, it's like, oh my gosh, I just came out of school, life school. Like I just went to school for a few years, and now I'm entering a different school. And that's okay. Not one is better than the other. They're just different. Yeah. It's okay. This one feels a little sweeter because I feel like, oh my gosh, now I learned these lessons. I get to play a little bit more, create a little bit more. But I couldn't be here if it wasn't for my other portion.
Right.
And so just, bearing that in mind and helping our kids see the world with those eyes, I think is one of the best tools we can give them, right? Because then we go through life. It's like what Gabby was saying. What's next? Like, what am I to see now? What am I to experience?
Well, it's analogous to what you were describing, Gabby, with your son and having to tell him, hey, look around. There's all these other things going on, right? If you just allowed him to be right here, he misses out on a lot of stuff. And then down the road, he doesn't have that to draw on. We're old enough that, pre-internet, the world was so different. We drank water from hoses and rode in cars without seat belts and all of that stuff that you see all over the internet. We turned out okay. Who knows? But, those are experiences that kids aren't getting today. And there is something there that it makes life a little richer. Mm-hmm. Those little odd little things that we go through sometimes.
Yeah.
I want to quickly come back to one point you made that kind of stayed with me, Anna, when you said that you could perceive when you did your coaching, right? You could actually feel when someone was on medication, right? You were saying. And so, so say before we enlist on, in some program, say to treat alcoholism, right? We need to stop drinking, right? You can't go and start treatment before you actually make a commitment to stop drinking, right? So now that the numbers show statistically, right, that ever increasing number of people are on antidepressant drugs, right? Mm-hmm. So you are faced with a person who is looking for answers. You're feeling that they're on some kind of antidepressant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that, and I'm just curious, right? Yeah. This is kind of sort of like an external factor that's kind of messing with their perceptions, right? Obviously, their mind is being affected by a chemical reaction of some kind, right? I've been actually looking into the Prozac, the way it does the serotonin trick there, right? Blocking the receptors there.
Yes.
So do you feel that any coaching could be effective without actually making commitment to stop, getting those, all kinds of antidepressant or whatever other mental, illness drugs?
Well, actually, when I feel, what I was referring to is when I do energy healings on people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When I do, which is different than my coaching. So I do 2 services. Mm-hmm. I can do coaching, but then when I'm doing energy healings on people that I can feel or sense their energy, mm-hmm. That's what I was referring to. I don't judge the person. To me, it's not like, oh my gosh, you are supposed to be off your medicine for me to do it. I more go to with what I feel. If I feel like my intuition will tell me. If I feel like, and I have declined a couple people, a few people. Mm-hmm. If I feel like it's not a good fit because it just doesn't feel right, I'm not going to do it. Mm-hmm. But if the person is clean, and even though they're on medication, they want a healing, and mm-hmm. they want, because I also do an intuitive reading. So that person in particular, for example, just to give you an example, comes to me and she says she's coherent enough, or she's aware enough that she desires a healing, and so and she's intuitive enough, to say, yeah, I feel like I want to have a healing with you. Fantastic, let's do it. Mm-hmm. Her guides gave her this beautiful and simple guidance of going back to her courses and how that would help her heal, because she was having some trouble with inside. And so I don't, to me, I really try to stay my ego away when I do healings. It's more about loving and being compassionate to the person, whatever they're at. It's not for me to judge. The only thing that I will judge is if I feel that it's in congruency with my own spirit. If it feels right,
Right. So you're relying on your intuition to tell you if you could be of help here to make a shift, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, there's no other way, right?
Absolutely.
Just coming back into present and understanding. Okay, can I make a difference here and help out, right?
Yeah. But, and that's why it's so important to do the work, because and I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I'm like not perfect, and I do have an ego, okay, and I'm in my head all the time, so I never want to come across like I'm somebody more than what I am. But what I'm saying is, it has really helped me to continue to be aware of my own way of operating and my awareness, to distinguish, where I'm coming from, and be as pure as I can be when I'm offering that help to others.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to jump in because I'm afraid that if I let you ask another question, Gabi, we might.
We're going to go. Yeah, I know.
We're all looking at kind of a time window here. So, I will comment that I thought in the beginning, I thought we were going to have this deep conversation about the law of attraction. I kind of thought that's where we were going to end up. And obviously I was wrong again, but maybe next time. So Anna, before we wrap up, please tell people where they get more of you.
Okay. So my website is annalauralevin.com, and I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram a little bit, but you can find me with Anna Laura Levin.
Okay. Would you spell that for him?
Yes, it's one N, A-N-A, Levin without an E, L-E-V-I-N.
Anna Laura Levin.
Anna Laura Levin.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I missed the Laura.
I know. Somebody's got to keep you on point here.
Laura.
Okay. I think unless there's a quick one we can ask, Gabi, you got something that you need to get out, or?
Well, I just wanted to first of all compliment you on just a wonderful website. I was just checking it, and there's this amazing image there, and it's kind of similar to ours. You know, the universe between the ears. We put the universe, in between the headphones, right?
Yes.
And you had the kind of universe I felt, right, in that face, in that purple face. With the, I don't know, it was like astro clouds there or something, or
yes.
galactical image there. It was really amazing. And definitely check out that website, you guys, because there are interesting resources there, and also the blog, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All those, when I receive messages from angels or guides, I try to make them into, little canvas
memes,
for people to share. Memes, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll close it here. Anna, thank you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to check out that book, The Mosaic.
Yeah, that looks very interesting.
Yeah, the little
One more
book.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Thank
is
you
kind
so
of.
much, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Hi, this is Tim Starr. Thanks for joining me and Gabi on the Universe Between Your Ears. We really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us for a little while. And we'd like to see you again. So be sure to subscribe wherever it is you're consuming the podcast from, whether it's YouTube or Stitcher or iTunes or whatever the hell else is out there. We want to see you again. We also want to hear from you. So let us know what you think of each episode. Let us know if you got an idea for a future episode that you think would be just killer. Absolutely, let us know. All right? Thanks again, and we will see you next time around. Bye-bye.